Dzień dobry, AppJS. What a great conference we had so far. Today, I would love to talk to you about Expensify and how we work with the open source community. We have built an open source community around our product to brainstorm and develop new features, push our roadmap ahead, and continuously catch and fix new bugs to achieve flawless experience for our customers. So I'm excited to tell you more about it. And without further ado, let me introduce myself. My name is Vít Horáček. I've been with Expensify for almost 2 years, and I started as an intern, and then I joined for a full-stack, full-time position last summer after graduating. The open source program at Expensify started just around the time when I joined, so I've been involved with it from its early days, and I'm excited to tell you more about it today. But let's first talk about what Expensify is. I would dare to say most of you haven't heard about Expensify because our main market is in the United States. But we've been around for a while. We started around 2008, and since then we have grown to over 12 million users spanning across more than 100 countries. The company's main goal is to make expense management quick and easy task which won't slow you down. I mean, conferences like these are a prime example of how much overhead it can be to keep all your receipts for travel, accommodation, and food, and so you can get your money back from your employer after the trip. Our current mobile application was first developed around 9 years ago, and it was built on an internal platform which had kind of similar idea as React Native. It was one JS code which was running on iOS and Android. Our pioneering feature, which is probably the most popular one, is a smart scan, where you can just easily take a picture of a receipt, and it will automatically read all the necessary data, and that's your job done. We also have a smart corporate credit card, which even further streamlines this process. The transactions made using this card are automatically categorized on the fly, and in this case, you might not even need to keep the receipt. But Expensify has many more features. However, there are only so many users we can get as an expense management tool, but our ambitions are way higher. We actually aim for 1 billion users. It's an outlandish goal, but we stood up to the challenge and asked ourselves how we can potentially get there. So to this point, we have perfected managing expenses. However, we have realized that if you zoom out, every expense entails a conversation. You collaborate in some shape or form. So this led us to the idea of Expensify Chat. We decided to take our first step towards 1 billion users and completely redesign our core app from scratch, this time revolving around the idea that every expense or every money transaction actually is just a conversation. Such approach, however, unlocks way more than company expenses. It extends easily to any kind of payment. You can split bills with your flatmates. You can request money from your friends. You can budget your personal spend. As a freelancer, for example, you can easily track your invoices in one place. You can also, it will save you a lot of time and stress at the end of the tax year. It was also great opportunity for us to adopt modern front-end stack, which will support all our future needs. We strongly believe in the power of open source collaboration, so although it's not very common in the industry, we made the Expensify Chat open source from its early days. All the issues we face are not necessarily restricted only to us. Anyone using the technologies might also experience the same problems we have, and we can work together to fix them, not only for ourselves, but for the entire community. That's one of the reasons we chose to build the Expensify Chat using React Native. It's built by the community for the community. And this is in line with our values and makes us very excited to use React Native. Being able to build iOS, Android, web, and desktop app from one code base is very important for us. Now that we had the vision of product which can take us to 1 billion users, we were wondering how will we get the engineering capacity needed for such huge task. There are only 45 engineers in Expensify, and they also need to support all our 12 million customers which use our current app. How can we 10 times our engineering capacity in such a short period of time? Luckily, there is virtually a limitless pool of talent in the open source freelance community. All our client side is public, and basically all the packages we use are also open source. So if we face any bugs on the front end, they could be easily fixed by the community without any major involvement from internal engineers. But the problem is there is also many open source projects. So how do we make sure that people will actually be interested in working on Expensify Chat? Well, we had to make this entire process as easy as possible. It's very quick to, or like very easy to start contributing, and also you get paid. There are clear instructions how you can run the app, and we have a Slack channel into which you can get invited, or you will get invited, and it is easy to collaborate there, and you can report bugs there. We have a easy bug report template, which you can follow, where you can write a reproduction steps. You write the platform you have faced, or like you found the issue on, and ideally you also leave like a screenshot or a video of the bug. Then our QA team goes through these bug reports, and they will see if they are valid, they are reproducible, and if they are not already logged on GitHub. If these bugs are valid, then they create GitHub issues, and contributors like you can look at the issues and try to propose their solutions to them. Then we go through the proposed solutions, we pick the best one, and this contributor gets to implement the fix. Once they implement it, they get paid. For each bug report, we offer $250, and for each bug fix starts at $1,000, but the price goes up by complexity, obviously. It took us many iterations to get this process dialed in. But now we are very happy to see that it can take even just a single day from the bug report to getting it fixed in our code base. But what I really love about the setup is that it's not only about our code base. We have so many bugs which are stemming from the packages we use, and whenever we face these, we really pay a lot of attention to try to get the contributors fix it upstream, because then the entire community can benefit from it, and they still get paid for their work. We also love automation, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with Upwork, but it's like a freelance platform for freelancers, and we post the jobs there. We have built a custom GitHub integration with them, so our team can just like easily put a label on the GitHub issue, and it will automatically create the job on Upwork, so it speeds up the process for them. Another thing we have built is that you can change the price of the Upwork job by just changing the GitHub title. This speeds up the entire process a lot, and again, like leaves more time for internal employees to work on roadmap issues, for example. Over time, some of the contributors stood out. They know the app from top to bottom. They worked on it a lot. They fixed important issues. And so we decided to create a contributor plus role. These people are extremely important for our community. They do a lot of work, and they speed up the entire code delivery process. They are in charge of reviewing the proposals from contributors on the bug fixes. They drive the discussion to find the best solution. Then they also review the PR and test it properly on all the platforms we support. It saves so much internal time, because then ideally the internal engineer can just come into the PR and check if the code is fine and everything was followed, and they can merge it, and we got a fix in. To recap on the bounties, the bug reports start at $250. Every bug fix starts at $1,000, but it can grow much larger with the complexity. We have also introduced a 50% urgency bonus, and it has shown that it really helped to drive the discussion faster, or like complete and merge the PRs faster. It's when you merge the PR in less than 2 days from your proposal being accepted. Then you get 50% more of whatever the bounty was. So yeah, you can see. For example, for the contributor plus role, they get the same reward as the PR author. And to give example, the highest job we paid out was over $60,000, and it was actually a fix in React Native Core. And it was a guy from Turkmenistan who worked on it on a couple of months, and yeah, it got merged, and yeah, our highest job paid out. Now, please let me take a small step back. Managing an open source community is hard. I can imagine anyone who has ever tried to manage these kind of communities can confirm that. It's very easy that it can get noisy. There is a lot of back and forth, and it can also have a lot of conflicts or these kind of problems, especially for us, because obviously there are proposals to get a job, so there is money involved, so sometimes people can get a little bit frustrated if their proposal is not chosen. However, we really care about the community, and we want to make sure it can be a good job for anyone, any freelancer or any open source contributor who would like to make some money from it. So to kind of help us with the managing, we're also trying to embed the following values into the community. These 3 values are live rich, have fun, and save the world. They sound very ambitious, and I mean, they are ambitious, but I believe they give the community a robust structure and a good long-term goal to follow. To expand a little bit on these, you can think of it as a pyramid. At the bottom, you have a live rich layer. Make no mistake, this is not about getting paid well only. It's very subjective what living rich means to all of us. But for example, it's about having a flexible job where you can spend time with your family and you can spend time with your friends. It's also about having fair working conditions where you can get paid the same for the same work as anyone else does. It's about having teammates who respect you, and it's about having a community which is supportive. Also, the community assumes the best intentions, because there is a lot of conversations and dialogues happening in this community, and it's very important to always assume the best intentions from other people, because otherwise it can get messy. For some, living rich might mean to have a remote job. Expensify Chat, or like working on Expensify Chat, allows that quite easily, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. But we are working hard to make Expensify open source community so that it allows its members to live rich, whatever it is for you. Above the live rich base, you have a little bit narrower base, a little bit narrower layer of have fun. You can think about these as bucket list items, more outlandish things which you can think of doing once you have this kind of base of living rich and you are happy at where you are. We hope to be able to do nice things with the community as well. And again, I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. And at the top, you have the Save the World category. I think that with the bigger community of hundreds and at this point over 1,000 people, we can really make big changes to our communities. And using Expensify Chat, it is, I think, a great way to help some campaigns which already are doing a great job, and we can just support them. I will share an example of such a campaign later in the talk. So, living rich, I'm gonna show statistics from our program so far. It's been 2 years since our program exists, and we had paid out and completed over 3,600 jobs on Upwork. This translates to over $3 million, which we have paid to freelancers and open source contributors for not only working on our code base, but also working on upstream fixes in React Native Web, and many other packages which we use. In fact, just in 2022, we had hired 131 new hires from over 32 countries. It's amazing to see how quickly the community grown so global. And our Slack community channel has currently over 1,200 members, and new members are joining every day. And I hope to see a couple of people from this conference joining in coming days as well. So you might wonder if we have any concrete examples of how useful this program is for us as a company. So, I mean, it's obvious, but it saves a lot of internal engineering time, which is priceless. The amount of time the Contributor Plus and contributors save can be focused on roadmap features and supporting our current customers, which are our paying customers. And this is very valuable for our program. To manifest the power of the open source community, we have started Expensify Chat using a class components in React, because that was something our internal engineers have been most familiar with. However, this ship has sailed, and we have to move to a functional components and hooks. This could be a really big task for our engineering team if we would have to do it all internally. It would take us probably weeks because we have to also focus on other things, and many weeks to be more exact. But we already created a plan how to do it with the community, and we estimate it might take just 2 weeks to change our entire code base to all functional components and hooks. And this will all engage just like very little internal engineering time. Another similar example is migrating to TypeScript. Again, we made a plan for how to migrate, and once we start, we estimate it might take just like less than a month, the entire community. Maybe it's going to be way faster, but again, we will need very little engineering time to actually complete this. See, such massive projects would slow us down for a couple of weeks, and now we can execute it without even noticing. Now let's go on the having fun part. In March, we have organized our first ever all expenses paid conference called Expensify Con X for our community. It was a week full of networking, making friends in Caribbean island Curaçao, and we've been there with the best contributors from our community, the contributor plus who could have made it. We also had experts from the industry, like team from the software mention or call stack people and Marginal team, and it was amazing to see their presentations and kind of get together in Curaçao. It's the Marginal team. We had some React library maintainers over there as well, and yeah, we are excited to do another edition soon. So finally, we get to the Save the World part of the community. Expensify Chat is built around communities, and we also at Expensify have a Expensify Org, which is a non-profit organization. And we are happy to support campaigns, especially for communities which are already doing a great job and in supporting their communities. So for example, there is one campaign which we plan to support, and we could call it as a help kit. In the US, it's unfortunately common, or like it happens that some students cannot afford to buy necessary school materials. And in this case, there is a lot of teachers who pay out of their pocket for these materials to provide them to the students because they want to make sure that their entire class can get a quality education. And we are thinking of building this inside of Expensify Chat, where these teachers could sign up, they get their principals to get involved, because the principal will be the one who is approving the receipts and making sure that they are legitimate. And then we're using the Expensify Org funds, we're going to refund 50% of their price. Again, we're trying to find campaigns which are already doing a good job, and we're going to support them with like 50% of the cost. This is just one of the campaigns we are thinking about, and we're going to launch it in the Expensify Chat, hopefully later this year. And it will be great to see freelancers and the community to help build it with us. Another example, this is different angle and looking at the Save the World, but I believe that open source shares a lot of values with the Save the World kind of idea as well, because it's a lot of people who are doing volunteering job, like they do it for free, just because they are passionate about it and they believe that these tools could be used for good things. And that's why we love to support open source. And for example, as we want to migrate Expensify Chat to use the new architecture you heard about earlier today, we have teamed up with Software Mention to move all the packages we use to support Fabric and Turbo modules. And so great job for Jakub Jasecki and Wojciech, this is just some of them. This is just some of the packages they help to migrate. Not all of them are merged upstream, but we hope that we can get it done soon, and then we can run the Expensify Chat on the new architecture. And yeah. So if you would like to, I encourage you to join our community or check it out and join the Slack channel, download the Expensify Chat and play around. Maybe you will see some bug, you can report it and get paid. And what I would like to also encourage is some other companies to maybe take the brave step and also build their software in open source. It's definitely been a step to the unknown, and we didn't know how it's going to turn out or whether it's actually going to be useful. But after these 2 years, I can definitely say it saved us so much time, and it's great to work with the open source community of developers like you. Yeah, I believe that the more companies which would open source their software, the faster we can move the React Native community, because there's going to be more pressure on fixing the actual bugs which are in production apps, and we can all move forward faster. Okay. Please, if you want, can you scan this QR code? It will lead you to the Expensify Chat QA room, where you can ask me any questions about the app or about the open source program. And I'm also going to be at the Expert Lounge at 4 p.m., I believe. And you can find more on the expensify.com/freelance. Thank you very much for your attention.